Hello everyone, it's me, Arden Lee. I am back today with another video. And in today's video, we are going to talk about what to do if you are feeling a paralyzing anxiety around feeling like others are judging you. If you have a fear of being judged, perhaps one that is even so strong that it's preventing you from living your life as fully as you possibly can. And I'm going to go over 3 things to either do or keep in mind if this is something that you are looking to overcome in your life. So before I get into that, of course, as always, if you have not yet already done so, I would love to invite you to either subscribe to my channel and or like my page, depending on which platform you are viewing this video on. And if you're not yet familiar with me and my work, my name is Arden Lee, and I'm the creator of the Repatterning Project, which is an 8-week course where we examine our patterns, hack our beliefs, and we bring mindful, conscious awareness to our everyday choices and decisions and habits so that we can optimize our paths towards success, happiness, personal growth, abundance, wealth, all the good stuff that we are looking to call in for ourselves. So if that sounds like your jam, go ahead and check out the description box where I have left a link to a free PDF guide about the Repatterning Project in case you are looking to learn a little bit more about what it is that we do. And I also have a link to the Repatterning Parlor, which is a free Facebook group that I moderate for like-minded individuals who are also all coming together to support each other on their paths towards success. So come join us in there, say hello, and we would love to support you on your journey. So all right, let's talk today about the fear of being judged. So I've got 3 suggestions, and the first one is probably fairly obvious, but it always helps to be reminded. Remember that most people are far more likely to be worrying that you're judging them than to be judging you, right? Because think about it, if you're worried about other people judging you, the chances are that they're actually worried about the same thing far more than, it's like one of those things where like they're just as scared of you as you are of them. I see this happen a lot. I talk to a lot of people who, I see more and more people who actually have fear of being judged than people who are out there actively judging others. And even if someone is out there actively judging others, in my observation, it usually tends to be a projection, or it usually tends to be a defense mechanism from others judging them. It's sort of like, the best defense is a good offense kind of thing. If someone is constantly putting that energy out there, they're usually doing it as a way to deflect from potential judgments coming upon them instead. And we can see that especially in the sort of like adolescent mean girls culture where it's usually the people, when we have that kind of culture of judgment, the people who are typically declaring themselves the arbiters of like what is cool and what is not cool or whatever are doing that to sort of protect themselves. There's like this mob mentality. I used to hang out in the New York City club scene with some people who were kind of like that, and there would be like a person every once in a while that they would decide to pick on or ostracize. And this is definitely not my proudest moment, but I, at times, even in that sort of mob mentality, I sort of joined in at the poking fun or whatever, because I was glad that the focus wasn't on me. And then one day the focus was on me, and honestly, that was a blessing in disguise because I didn't need to be hanging out with those kind of people. So, so I finally left that circle, and I found healthier social circles with people who actually liked me and supported me for who I am. Which brings me to point number 2, which is, actually no, I'm going to save that for point number 3. Point number 2, in that case, is going to be if this is really a fear of yours, and if you want to be like extra badass in confronting this particular fear, I have like a super advanced player suggestion for you. And this is, as I said, this is an advanced player thing to do, and it might sound like the most terrifying thing possible if you're someone who already has a fear of being judged. But it's one of those things where you're going to, once you do it, it's like it helps you immediately get over that fear by confronting it head on. And so the suggestion, the advanced player badass, judgment-free suggestion, is to write up an email and blank carbon copy it to about 20 people in your life who know you really well and love you and care about you and want the best for you, right? So it's really important that you vet these people for people who really have your best interests in mind, people who know you really well. It could be family members if you have a supportive family. It could be your partner. It could even be ex-partners if you're brave. It can be your friends. It can be coworkers. It can be maybe even former employers. That you still have a fairly decent rapport with, or that you wouldn't feel uncomfortable reaching out to in this scenario. But I would say pick about 10 to 20 people and write up an email that says, hey, I'm hoping that you will respond to this email. I've included, however many people on this particular email. And if you're here, if you're getting this email, you are receiving it because you are someone whose opinion is important to me and someone who I think has a pretty good assessment of who I am as a person based on the time that we've spent together in the past. And I would love if you would respond to this email and tell me some of the areas that you think I could personally work on to be better. I'm looking at, really fast tracking my self-improvement, and I'm looking for some feedback from people who have an outside perspective on me and my life to give me some feedback about where they think my focus would best be placed as I am on that path toward my personal growth. And if it would make you feel better, certainly would make me feel better, you can also include some of the things that you think are my strengths that I should celebrate and remember to continue to do, to bring conscious awareness to as well. So this is an idea that I got from reading The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. That's something that he did personally, and he really recommends it as an exercise. But I'm pretty sure it's something that it's definitely in the Miracle Morning book, but it's also something that that I had heard of once or twice before. I think I actually even had an ex-boyfriend of mine reach out to me with something like that. So so if you're feeling really brave, like, go ahead and confront that fear, and then recognize that you're specifically asking people who know you, love you, and care about you, because they're going to be giving you those judgments in a way that actually is informed toward your personal growth, right? Not in a way that is just, people being catty toward you or whatever. So you want to make sure that you're selecting for the people who really have your best interests in mind. And you can qualify them in the email too with that. Say, I picked, if you're receiving this email, I chose you specifically because I believe that you know me and care about me, and that you have my best interests at heart, and that you're going to, you're going to give this feedback completely honestly, but also with kindness or whatever. And if you do that, I really believe that it'll give you, not only will it give you an accurate assessment of the kind of growth that you'll want to be making in the future, especially if you see common themes popping up from different people, especially if they're different people that you know from different backgrounds. Like if you have an ex-lover say something and you have your boss, say the same thing, then that might be something that that you want to put some closer examination and focus upon. And not only will you be getting that extremely helpful feedback for your personal growth path, but you will also really face down your fear of judgment. It's like it's like that confrontation kind of therapy, or like whatever it is, where you do the thing that you're really scared of, and then you become not so scared of it anymore. So again, that's sort of an advanced player setting thing to do. But if you do that, I really guarantee that you're going to get some strong results from it. And finally, the third thing, let's move on to the third thing, is remember that if people are being judgy about you, and especially if they're being judgy about you in a way that is not, that does not have your best interests in mind, in a way that is mean-spirited or judgmental, first of all, as I said, they're probably projecting, or they're probably just protecting themselves. But in addition to that, they're not really people that you want in your life, right? So why would their opinion of you matter to you? You want to surround yourself with people who care about you and who, again, have your best interest in mind. So if someone is judging you, immediately what that means is that they don't meet your standards for friendship. They don't meet your standards even for the kind of growth that you expect someone to have done at this point in their adult lives as a human being, right? Like, we're all adults now. I mean, those of us who are adults anyway. But like, we're supposed to be past that fear and insecurity that comes from judging people in that manner, and I notice for myself, when I get judgy about people, it's usually a reflection of a vibration that I've just left myself, right? It's like when I started really working on healing codependent tendencies in myself, I started getting judgy about people who still had them. And the reason that I did that, it wasn't a defense mechanism for, to protect me from social ostracism, because I kept my judgments to myself. But it was, for me, a defense mechanism against slipping back into that vibration. So I recognized that it was entirely about me, and that it wasn't a judgment so much as it was a trigger. It was like, oh shit, I was just like that. And now that I'm not like that anymore, I see how awful it is and how much pain it causes and how much I don't want to be like that anymore, right? It's like the newly sober person who's like, I don't want to go out with people who are drinking all the time. So it was really, even then, it's even though I recognize that in that trigger, I may be feeling or experiencing feelings of judgment toward another person, really, even in the moment, I still recognize that at its root, it was really about me and what I was going through and what I was discerning against for myself personally. It wasn't even really about the other person. So ultimately, if you do experience someone who judges you, even if you don't know whether they're judging you, or not, even if they never express it, even if you're maybe experiencing fear of being judged, just like, oh, that person's staring at me weird, even if they never say anything, just remember that someone who hasn't processed their own internal experience enough to recognize where that judgment is coming from is probably not a person whose opinion you really want to care about all that much. So who cares, right? This is like, again, we just had that video about how to experience rejection, in the same way that if someone is rejecting you, they're not meeting your standards for loving you and valuing you and appreciating you. So therefore, they're really rejecting themselves in your presence, because they're saying, I don't meet your standards for valuing you well enough. It's the same with people who are going to judge you as well. If someone is judging you, immediately, rather than saying like, oh, that person's judging me, you can think to yourself, that person is disqualifying themselves from my friendship, and how sad for them, because I'm amazing and I'm awesome. And if they're still judging people, that's like super immature. At least if they're judging people and not recognizing that whatever it is just a reflection of something that they're feeling about themselves, or something that they are discerning or not discerning about for themselves. And yeah, sure, a lot of people might not realize that, but their ignorance is not your problem. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.